let's make sure that you understand the basics of the syntax for OSPFv3. IPv6 routing has to be enabled. You don't generally have to do that for IPv4 because it's enabled with the IP routing command by default. It's baked into the operating system. We don't do all that much inside of router configuration mode, but if you do have to get in there, IPv6, router, OSPF, choose the process ID, and we give it a router ID. That's really important to be the first step, and if you are troubleshooting OSPF, look to make sure it has a router ID. Otherwise, it's underprepared to be enabled. And then we enable it on a per interface basis, and this is the OSPF specific command. It's very similar to the way that we would enable OSPFv2 at interface level for an area. So really the only difference is v6. So it's not massively different, this configuration. If we're looking at the router here that is the branch router, we might also have to be mindful of passive interfaces. Now, when you think passive interfaces for OSPF or EIGRP, think, okay, I'm in the exam. If I see passive interface default, then I gotta fix that. I gotta make sure that I'm opened up for hello protocol communication on interfaces where I expect neighborship, because passive interface silences the routing protocol. So here we see passive interface loopback 0, which says, okay, well, I'm not going to be on loopback 0. Let's say that was a physical interface, which makes a little bit more sense, because we don't really care about setting a loopback interface to passive. But I would want you to be mindful that passive interface can be an issue that you have to know how to fix. So if you do see passive interface default, then what you do is you leave that there, and then you do a no passive interface to reopen up the floodgates for OSPF, hello protocol communication, so you could reform a neighborship. So if you saw passive interface default, you would say no passive interface gigabit 0/1, and that would be your resolution.